Hey everybody, what's good? What's going on? JB here. Just throwing together a little live stream today. Happy New Year's to everybody. If you've been following my Juniper Network Certification Challenge, then you know that I kind of got thrown a little bit of a curveball when I wrapped up the fifth cert that I did, which was their DevOps cert. And that was that they came out with a new certification for Wi-Fi. So in today's stream, I just wanted to go through their practice test, just like we have with all the other practice tests for the other certs, and do that in a way where hopefully it'll help you out a little bit. It's going to help me out because I'm preparing to take the test, and we'll kind of go from there. So yeah, let me just make sure everything here on my desktop looks good. If you want to drop in and say hello or any of that good stuff, then you go ahead and do that. If you have any questions or comments while I'm going through the practice test, just drop those in as well. One thing I wanted to cover real quick, when I did a video, I think it was about a week or so, where I was kind of explaining this new certification, the JNCIA-MistAI certification. We kind of went over the training program that they had and the classes. I made one little mistake in the way that I was explaining that and said that you only needed to do this first portion here, the 0.5, and then the 1 for the MIST certification. You actually should review all 3 sections or all 4 sections of this if you are going after certification. I went back and double checked with some friends over Juniper, and they verified that you do need to go through all this. Now, having said that, and me having gone through all of this, a lot of the different sections in here has some overlap. So you might get to certain videos and stuff like that and be like, oh, I already saw that in a previous section. So don't stress over that. Have some folks dropping in the chat. Hey, Corey, what's good, man? Hope you had a good New Year's. I'm sure you cooked up some good food. So yeah, let me see anything else before we hop in. Gonna go over to the Junos Genius website, which by now you guys should all be somewhat familiar with, having looked through some of these other Juniper videos. And let's see. So we are going to go over to the MIST certification track. And we're going to the associate cert. And we got, hey, Happy New Year. Hey, Happy New Year to you too. Appreciate that. We're just going to go into the practice test area here. And like I mentioned, this is different than all of the other Juniper courses where they have the study material and the test in the same location. At the moment, all of the MIST training material is actually on that MIST University website. I put the link in one of my previous videos for this. I'll put it in the description for this YouTube video once this gets published. So that will be there for you. All right, same deal as all the other Juniper practice tests, really 60 questions. We're just going to go through and do these and see how this all goes. So question 1, which 2 signal strengths would provide good Wi-Fi performance? Negative 80 dBm, negative 65 dBm, negative 35 dBm, or negative 87 dBm. So with the signal strength, you actually want it to be closer to 0. So out of these 4, we are going to go negative 65 and negative 35. Let's see. All right. In the US, what are the 3 available non-overlapping channels in a 20 megahertz, 2.4 gigahertz band frequency? Well, we're going to go 1, 6, and 11. Any of those other ones, that 3 kind of would overlap between 1 and 6, and 9 would be between 6 and 11, so that won't work. Cool. In the US, which 2 UNII bands in the 5 gigahertz frequency overlap with the DFS channels? That is going to be the 2 that are in the 2. So the UNII 2 and 2 extended. All right, and all of this stuff in here is all in that training material in that MIST University website. I haven't done Wi-Fi stuff or studied for Wi-Fi stuff in a long time, so that was a really, really good refresher, because this is stuff, if you aren't using it on a day-to-day basis, you probably will forget it. because that's just kind of the way that goes. What are two benefits of the 5 gigahertz band when compared to the 2.4 gigahertz band? So the 2.4 gigahertz has a longer range, so that would not be it. There is less non-Wi-Fi interference in the 5, and it has more available channels. Yes. And I don't even need to go with that because that is a 2.4 gigahertz that goes with that, but I just know that these two are the real benefits with the 5 gigahertz channels, or 5 gigahertz band, I should say. Yep. All right, according to Juniper Networks, which two 5 gigahertz channel widths would be used in a high density enterprise environment? So high density means that you have a lot of clients, right? So if you have a lot of clients, you would want to have more channels available to you. So we wouldn't really want to bond a whole bunch of 20 megahertz channels into 80s and 160s. So let's go with the 20s and the 40s. Okay. Signal to noise ratio is calculated based on the difference between which two factors? So signal to noise, noise is going to be all the background stuff that you kind of have, and I believe we refer to that as the noise floor. And then the signal that we'd be getting, the receive signal that we're getting, would be the RSSI. So we will go with that. It wouldn't be the BSID, which is going to be a MAC address, and it wouldn't be data rate. Okay. You have a 2x2:2 MIMO direct or MIMO client connected to a 4x4:4 MIMO AP. In this scenario, which statement is correct? So what this means, or this nomenclature, well, first off, MIMO is multiple input, multiple output. So pretty much it's a wireless access point that has multiple antennas on it. So it can send multiple streams or receive multiple streams. And what that means is that it's able to do 2 streams in and 2 streams out to a maximum of 2 different devices, where this is 4 streams in, 4 streams out to a maximum of 4 devices. Well, in this scenario, what are these questions? The AP can transmit 4 spatial streams to the client, but the client can only transmit 2 spatial streams. Well, it wouldn't be able to transmit 4 because it wouldn't be able to receive the 4th, so no. The client can transmit 4 spatial streams. We already know that's incorrect because we were talking that that's going to be 2. The AP and the client can only communicate with each other using 2 spatial streams. I like that. The AP and the client can only communicate with each other using 4 spatial streams. Well, I already said that that's not right, so we'll go with a third one. Okay. When comparing the 5 gigahertz band and the 2.4 gigahertz band, which two statements are correct? Okay. The 5 gigahertz has a higher frequency. The 5 gigahertz has a shorter wavelength. The 5 gigahertz has a lower frequency, and the 5 gigahertz has a longer wavelength. Well, I know that the 5 gigahertz has a shorter wavelength than the 2.4. So we'll go that, and then we'll go the opposite and say that the 5 gigahertz has a higher frequency than the 2.4. And then we'll see if that's right. Okay. All right. I'm getting a little thirsty here. All right. Let's see. The signal strength between an AP and a given client is weak and nearly unusable. In this scenario, which statement is correct? The signal strength between an AP and a given client is weak and nearly unusable. The Radius server will send a COA to the client. Change of authorization, no. The client and the access point shift to slower data rates. I like that. The AP will move the connection from 2.4 to 5 gigahertz. We don't know that the client can support that, so that might not be right. The AP will move the specific client connected to a clearer channel. Let's go that they will shift to slower data rates. All right, cool. Which two statements are correct about the 5 gigahertz band? It has less non-Wi-Fi interference than the 2.4 gigahertz band. We actually already had that as a correct answer on one of the questions, so we will take that. And we know that that next one is incorrect. It is an unlicensed spectrum. It is a licensed spectrum. The 5 gigahertz band is an unlicensed spectrum, so let's go with that. Okay. Which statement is correct about the 5 gigahertz band? There are overlapping channels. There are not compared to the 2.4, so that is incorrect. The channels do not overlap. I like that. There is no interference in the 5 gigahertz band. I don't like that. There are less channels than in the 2.4 gigahertz band. No. So we'll go with number 2. All right, next question. Which statement is correct about Wi-Fi data transmissions? Wi-Fi is a collision-free medium? I don't think so. Wi-Fi is a full duplex. Wi-Fi is not full duplex, it's half duplex. Legacy devices use airtime less efficiently. That sounds correct to me. Legacy devices use airtime more efficiently. No. So let's go with legacy devices use airtime less efficiently. Let's see. Cool. In which two frequencies does Wi-Fi operate? Well, since that's been in all of our questions so far, we'll go with the 2.4 gigahertz and the 5 gigahertz. Which statement is correct about 802.11 phi? PHY. 802.11 PHY uses CSMA-CD. That's collision sense multiple access. No, carrier sense multiple access collision detection. Only receives frames destined for it. Throughput is roughly half the data rate. Throughput is the data rate. Well, 802.11 uses collision avoidance, not collision detection. So it would be CA. Collision detection is what we use on like wired networks. Only uses frames destined to it. Let's go with half the data rate. Let's see. What will ensure optimal connectivity in 802.11? A noise floor above negative 91 dBm, RSSI of negative 82 dBm, a signal to noise ratio of 25 dB, signal strength of negative 80 dBm. So I think that we want a difference of 25 dB between the RSSI and the noise floor. RSSI of negative 82 is no good. It's not strong enough. And definitely not that. Yeah, let's go with the SNR of 25 dB. We'll see. Maybe. Cool. Okay. What is an 802.11 frame type? Well, it's not a BPDU, which is from Spanning Tree. It's definitely not OSPF, a routing protocol. I don't think it's security, but I do believe that there are management frames. So let's do that. Cool. Which data rates are supported on 802.11b legacy devices? So those are really old, slow devices. So just looking at this, I'm going to go with the lowest rates here, and we'll roll the dice with that. Which 802.11 amendment introduces data rates up to 600 megabits per second and support up to 4 spatial streams? Well, it's not A, it's not G, and the more newer ones goes N, AC, and then AX. And I believe N is the one where we ended up starting to get the 600 megabits per second. Let's see. Cool. Which amendment provides the highest data rate? Well, I just said that AX is the newest one. And I think that is, I don't know, that's 10 gigs, but it might be 8 or 9 gigs theoretical per second. But we'll go AX. What is used for enterprise WLAN authentication? IPsec, EAP, Diffie-Hellman, CAP-WAP. Well, IPsec is for encryption, right? So tunnels. Diffie-Hellman is also used when we're talking about VPNs and IPsec for key exchange. I have no idea what CAP-WAP is. But EAP, the Extensible Authentication Protocol, has authentication in the name. So we'll go with that. What are 2 types of operations for a Wi-Fi access point? To bridge wireless traffic to a wired network. I do like that. To mesh to a neighboring access point. So connecting to another access point. Yep, I like that. Connect to 5G network? No. To connect a DECT phone? No. We'll go with those 2. Which statement represents proper planning for location-based services? Place APs in the same location as for basic Wi-Fi coverage. APs must be wall-mounted to provide location accuracy with additional APs in, I assume that's supposed to be foyers, not oyers. So we're not going to go with that one. Base your coverage plan on a rubber band model where the APs form a perimeter of location coverage. I like that one a lot. Triple the number of APs you would normally use for basic Wi-Fi. No, we'll go with the 3rd one. All right, next question. You have deployed a wireless network for a customer. The customer asks you to collect real-world measurements that show signal strength, secondary coverage, and co-channel interference on a map. In this scenario, which task must you perform to satisfy this requirement? So we're talking about, we've already deployed the network and we're collecting measurements after the fact. So a post-installation validation survey sounds good to me. A predictive model, no. An AP on a stick survey, no. A predictive survey, no. We'll go with the first one. You operate a 5 gigahertz network where 2.4 gigahertz is not supported. A user reports that their client device has very poor signal strength under a specific access point. Other users in the area are not experiencing problems. What is the cause of the signal strength problem? The user's client does not support the channel that the AP is on. That's reasonable. There are not enough access points to cover the area. No, because the other clients are okay. The closest access point is affected by a DFS event. No. The user's client device supports only the 2.4 gigahertz band. Well, it wouldn't be able to connect. So let's go. The user's client does not support the channel the AP is on. What are 2 types of site surveys? Analog, digital, passive, and active. I'm going to go passive and active. Which site survey method has a client connecting to the Wi-Fi network? Well, that doesn't sound passive to me. That sounds pretty active. So spectrum, passive, active, real time. Let's go active. Let's see. What type of survey uses ping and throughput testing to measure data? Again, that doesn't necessarily sound passive. That sounds like you're actively interacting with a network. So let's go with active again. What is a consideration when designing a wireless LAN? Legacy clients support all channels. They 100% do not do that. Not all clients support all channels. That's a good one. The maximum throughput rate, the minimum throughput. Now let's go not all clients support all channels. When determining wireless network requirements, which 3 questions must be answered? Where do you need Wi-Fi? What devices will you be using? How many devices and users will there be? How many wired devices do you have? Does the location have air conditioning? I don't care so much if if it has air conditioning. And how many wired devices? I don't care about that either. So let's go Where do you need the Wi-Fi? How many devices and users will be connecting? And what devices will you be connecting to the wireless network? When determining design requirements, which statement is correct about the primary coverage requirement? Determining design requirements, which statement is correct about the primary coverage? The minimum signal strength from the primary access point must be -67 dBm or better. The signaling rate, not the throughput, must be considered. The background noise must be 25 dBm. That is completely incorrect. One access point on a channel must be above. No, I don't like that. Signaling rate, no. We're going to go the minimum signal strength of the primary access point should be -60 dBm or better. And better meaning closer to 0. Okay. What is a valid use case for the PoE pass-through feature of a MistAP? So we have a few different options here. Well, we're talking about a MistAP, so we're not talking about connecting a laptop, and we're not talking about powering a switch, so that leaves us AP43 or BT11. I think in this case, so BT11 is like a for Bluetooth stuff, and we'll go with that. Okay. That's one of those ones. That's a guess. I mean, so one of the things in studying through this is you kind of have to look at their portfolio of devices. Not having taken the exam yet, but just looking over all the practice tests or not all the practice tests, looking over this practice test and the questions that they ask going through the training and stuff like that seems to be a lot more focused on Wi-Fi itself instead of the actual differences in the portfolio. So that was kind of just a guess for me on this one. What are 2 reasons for using a MistAI edge device? So the MistAI edge device is something that you use to actually terminate tunnels. So let's see if this comes out here. To provide a local control and configuration platform to change the configuration of APs in case the cloud is not available. No. To provide a replacement for the MistAI Cloud in scenarios where cloud services are not allowed. No. To terminate data tunnels. Yep. When directly replacing a legacy controller-based wireless LAN. Well, I like that. To provide an IPsec tunnel terminator for home worker scenarios. I like that too. We'll go with both of those. You're deploying Mist at a site for location-based services. You know that Mist has a unique directional BLE antenna on most of their access points. In this scenario, which 2 characteristics must be considered for installation? Temperature, orientation, height, and AP name. Temperature doesn't matter, AP name doesn't matter. So anything dealing with antennas and stuff like that, orientation, where you're pointing to, and height is going to be important. Which Mist subscription is required to send virtual beacon alerts to a mobile device? Wi-Fi assurance doesn't sound right. Virtual network assistant doesn't sound right. Asset visibility or virtual BLE engagement? One of those, and I'm not sure. Let's go Mist required to send a virtual beacon alerts to mobile devices. Let's go virtual BLE engagement since that's using Bluetooth, I think. Cool. In which 2 areas does the Mist API provide access? Access to syslog messages from other equipment on site does not do that. Access to software applications installed on the end users does not do that. Access to the configuration of the IPs, yes. Access to wireless performance statistics, 100%. Which 2 statements about Mist Edge are correct? Mist Edge provides split tunneling for guest access and corporate traffic. Well, since we're talking about tunneling again, I like that. Mist Edge provides WLAN management. No. Mist Edge extends VLANs to distributed branches and telecommuters to replace remote VPN technology. I like that. Mist Edge is required to support Wi-Fi 6 APs. No. We'll go with those 2. Cool. When troubleshooting client connectivity issues, Where should the Wi-Fi administrator go to see the events and SLE data? So that's data dealing with all of the service levels that you set as being acceptable. Let's see. The missed access point, missed edge, missed dashboard, Ethernet switch. We want to go to the dashboard to see all of that data. Missed edge is available in which two platforms? Access point, firewall, virtual machine, hardware appliance. Well, it's not, doesn't run on an access point, and it doesn't run on a firewall. So we're going to go hardware appliance or virtual machine. Over which port does access point communicate with the Mist cloud? It uses HTTPS, so 443. When configuring policies within the Mist UI, which two statements are true? Configuring policies, so it can be configured on a per AP basis, a per site basis. It can be configured within RF templates, or it can be configured within configuration templates. So you wouldn't have a policy that you do on a per AP basis. That would kind of defeat the purpose of having a policy, since a policy is supposed to be pushed out to multiple things. So we're going to say on a per site basis, which is going to be a collection of APs. And we're talking about configuring a policy. We wouldn't do that within the radio frequency templates. We would do that within the configuration templates. When setting up a new wireless LAN in the Mist portal, what is a valid security option? Well, you might kind of know this from your home wireless security options. You know, we talk about not using WAP. WPA2 is going to be what you're going to want to use. These other ones aren't really applicable to what we're talking about from a security option for wireless LANs. You use the default values when configuring a new site in the Mist portal. In this scenario, which two statements are correct? Choose two. Rogue and neighbor APs will be detected by default. Rogue and neighbor IPs will not be detected by default. Honeypot APs will be detected by default. Honeypot APs will not be detected by default. So this is kind of important to understand the difference between these. Honeypot APs are APs that are spoofing your SIDs that are not actually part of your organization. So that's bad. Rogue APs are ones that are connected to your network, but you don't have them being managed by Mist. And neighbor APs is going to be other APs that aren't necessarily let's try speaking straight, are not necessarily associated with your organization. But, you know, think of it as your neighbor's wireless access points that you're able to kind of like see on your phone or your laptop or your tablet. So by default, it doesn't detect the rogue or neighbor APs. You can turn that on, but it will by default detect the honeypots. Cool. WXLAN is used to provide policy controls for wireless clients. In the Mist UI, from which construct are these policies built? IP objects, configured IP addresses, labels, generic groups of attributes. I think it's going to be labels. Port numbers or containers. Yeah, it's going to be labels, because you can kind of use the labels to do a whole bunch of different grouping of different types of resources. And so that kind of makes writing those policies a little bit easier. Which statement is correct about Mist SSID scheduling feature? The feature allows administrators to enable and disable SIDs for specific time frames. I like that. I'll click on that. This feature allows users to create. Don't allow users to create anything in there, so we'll skip over that. This feature allows users to schedule and perform an upgrade. Nope. This feature allows administrators to schedule and perform upgrades. No. This is all about Mist SID scheduling is about enabling different SIDs or wireless networks at certain time periods if you want to have them on the schedule. What would be defined using a configuration template in the Mist UI? What would be defined as using a configuration template? Marvis query type, a SID, MTU, AP hostname. I think a SID. We'll see. I'm not sure. Oh, cool. Just because that's something that would be shared, and so you would use a configuration template to create that and then push that out to multiple devices, where an AP hostname would be unique to a device. In the MistUI, which two options are available when applying a configuration template? So, configuration templates, remember I said it wasn't going to be a single AP, so definitely not that. Entire org or site and site group sounds good. Location zone, I don't even know what that means. So we're going to go the entire organization or sites and site groups. After configuring an RF template in the MistUI, where is the RF template applied? The organization, the site, the device profile, or the WXLAN policy. I'm going to say the RF template is going to be applied to the site, which is a collection of APs. Okay. What does the green dot signify as shown in the exhibit? Okay, so we got an RF template and default settings, but then we hit the drop down here and we go down to this AP12 and there's a green dot there specifically for the AP12. So what are our options? The RF template has been assigned to AP12. The RF template contains model-specific settings for AP12. AP12 is online. The configuration has been validated. We're going to say that that particular template has model-specific settings for AP12. Yep. In the MistUI, when you invite someone to become a network admin, which two abilities are they given? As a network admin, you don't have complete admin rights to everything, but you do have some. So I'm going to say have read-write access to specific sites, change configuration templates, invite other administrators, no, create wireless LANs. It's either change configuration templates or create wireless LANs. I'm going to say create wireless LANs. Yeah. How would an on-site deployment engineer claim a missed AP? You must create a support ticket, use the mistAI mobile application and scan the QR code, fill out appropriate paperwork, log into the serial port on the AP and enter the site credentials. No, you're going to use an app on your phone to scan the QR code. Which two AP types are available for mist management? Well, they have REST and webhooks. So SOAP, webhooks, REST, XML, RPC. Yep, we're going to go those two. With mist automation, which two mist components would you need to automate the creation of multiple sites? Let's see. Multiple sites. We're going to go the API and configuration templates. Cool. I just had another comment pop up here. Let's see. Thanks a lot. You certainly inspire us to go after June. I've already. Oh, awesome. Which one did you like better out of those two? I thought so. For me, I thought the Junos one had a lot more material to it and was much more CLI based. So I thought it was a little bit challenging. Cloud one was good. I took the Azure exam a few months prior, so a lot of the basic cloud stuff I kind of had already studied. And yeah, the JNCIA-SEC is solid. I wish it had more configurations in it because it really doesn't do anything CLI wise. To kind of get into that type of stuff, you have to do the specialist or the professional cert. So it's more understanding the different components in the portfolio as far as, which Juniper devices do what and kind of best practices as far as different services and stuff like that. So it's not too bad. As somebody who's used Juniper firewalls for a long time, I kind of was hoping it was going to be a little bit more into, creating security zones and firewall policies and, configuring IDP and all the type of stuff that I normally do. And since that wasn't in there, it was more like theory on those things. It was still okay, but I probably would be interested in looking at kind of some of the higher level certs there. But definitely good luck on going after that one next, and congratulations on the other two. Let's see. Which two network service statuses are shown on the Insights page for a specific site? So when we're talking about service statuses, these are kind of like things that play into the overall, I don't want to say life cycle, but there is kind of this process that a packet needs to go through to be able to, or a user is able to connect to a wireless network and then be able to get out to, like, let's say the internet to access a website. And so some of the services that they need for that entire process to work is DHCP to get an IP address and DNS for the resolution for the domains. And so those are two things that are monitored on the Insights page. NTP, while very, very important, is not one of those things that is kind of seen at a user level, and BGP is for routing. So after the AP boots up, the yellow LED goes off, blinks once, okay, then blinks twice, and then repeats. Referring to the exhibit, what does this pattern indicate? And there's nothing there. So if we're talking about booting up and then yellow, blinking once, and then blinking again, yellow's going to be like something probably not so great going on. That's going to be probably a cloud is unreachable. Yeah. Let's see. Definitely the Juno since I started. Okay, yeah. Yeah. The interesting thing with the Juno cert is it kind of already expects you to have kind of that network plus layer of fundamentals when it comes to networking, where like the CCNA will really try and start you off with, from scratch. So it's going to kind of cover a lot of those network fundamentals that the Network Plus covers as well, which could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on what your background is and where you're coming from. Juniper does have a bunch of networking fundamentals courses, though, that are free on the Genius website. So if you weren't coming from Cisco or you weren't doing the Network Plus, well, although I highly think the Network Plus is a great thing to do starting off, but if you weren't doing that, there is some training that is there and available if you go to jump into the JNCIA-Junos and it seems a bit overwhelming from a networking fundamentals perspective. So just another thing to keep in mind. When monitoring MistAI's LED and you see the color is blue, in this scenario, what does that mean? Blue is good. So AP has failed, AP's radio has failed, AP's firmware is being upgraded. AP is configured with attached clients. Yes, blue is good. Which two classifiers would impact the time to connect service level metric? Time to connect. I believe that's supposed to be asymmetric downlink, not asymmetry downlink. DHCP, I think, would be one of those. Wi-Fi interference or association? Ooh, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's Wi-Fi interference or association. I'm going to go association. We'll see. Cool. When viewing the status of a Wi-Fi client, you see that the RSSI value is negative 65 dBm. In this scenario, which statement is correct? The client is connected with a poor and unusable signal strength. No, negative 65 dBm is okay. The client is connected with a poor but usable signal strength. No, the client is not connected because of insufficient signal strength. That is not the case. The client is connected with a strong signal strength. I'd say that's strong. You're solid there. And remember, you want the difference between the RSSI and the floor to be 25 dB. Remember we were talking about the SNR, the signal to noise ratio. All right, when accessing a Wi-Fi client's signal to noise ratio, look at that. Which statement is correct? The signal should be at least negative 76 dBm, greater than the noise floor. What did I say? I just said 25, right? 25 dB greater than the noise floor. There we go. That was prophetic. Referring to the exhibit, what would you conclude about network capacity? All right, so what do we got here? We got users, and we kind of see that there's not a lot, and then during the day it kind of goes up and peaks and comes back down, and then we see capacity is good, and then as the users start to come on, we start to see that the capacity starts to go down and down and down and down. And then over on the right hand side here, looking at that capacity, there's a few different things that kind of feed into that: client usage, client count, Wi-Fi interference, and non-Wi-Fi interference. So kind of looking at that non-Wi-Fi interference is a 99. It might be kind of hard to see on the stream because it actually is kind of hard to see here, but I can see 1% under client count and 99% under non-Wi-Fi interference. That would mean that the issues with success, because it isn't 100%, it's 70%, so there's a 30% failure rate here. 99% of that is attributed to non-Wi-Fi interference. So the question is, what would you conclude about network capacity? There's too many clients on the network throughout the day. I wouldn't say that. There's too many neighboring Wi-Fi access points. No. The user's downloading large files. Imaging. No. There's a source of non-Wi-Fi interference only seen during the daytime. Possibly. That might make sense. Cool. Which capacity subclassifiers available in the service level page in the MIST UI? Subclassifier. Association. Non-Wi-Fi interference. Switch reboot. Authorization. Capacity. I have no idea. This is not going to be switch reboot. Which capacity subclassifier? So we're talking about how much can we fit on the network? Let's go association. But I'm not sure. We'll see. Oh, okay. What do we got? Non-Wi-Fi interference. Interesting. Okay. I have to go back and look at that a little bit. All right, let's finish it up. I think we did pretty good. I think we only got that one wrong. Yeah, okay, cool. So I'm feeling pretty good with this. I think I'm probably going to go back over a little bit of the study material. This month in January, you actually don't need to do a voucher exam. So all the other certs for Juniper, for the associate ones, you do the voucher exam, and if you get good enough on that, then you get 75% off. You actually don't need to do that right now. So if you wanted to go and take this in the month of January, there's just a website you can go to. I'll put it in the description for this video. It's in my last Juniper video as well. I think I tweeted it out too. And Juniper themselves have tweeted it out, where you just get a 75% off voucher code right now through the end of January for this cert. So that's kind of cool. If you're at all familiar with Wi-Fi, then I don't think that this is going to be too heavy of a lift for you. Might just need a little bit of a refresher. All right, got some comments and questions coming in here, so let me pop these up. All right. Thank you for your videos. You motivated me to get the JNCIA-Junos. Awesome. I'll be doing the DevOps exam in a couple of days, and they're awesome. Yeah, the DevOps one was really good. I enjoyed that quite a bit because for me, that was all material that was pretty new to me. I mean, so digging into the JSON and the YAML and the XML and Python and all that type of stuff was fun from a learning perspective. So yeah, congratulations on the Junos. Glad that the content motivated you and helped you in any way. And then yeah, good luck on the DevOps one. I think you probably be pretty straight if you pass the Junos one. Then you kind of have an idea what the tests are kind of like. So, and if you haven't watched my video yet on my review on that exam, then you should definitely go and check that out for sure. And let's see, you had a follow-up question there. Let me add that over here. All right, one question. When I was booking my exam for JNCIA-SEC, they only allow me to book before. So I don't know if that is with that. I don't think that they're doing away with the voucher program. What I don't know is if the voucher that you had was specifically for that version of the JNCIA-SEC exam, because I know that they just changed it, but I don't know when that came out. So I don't know which version of the JNCIA-SEC you're taking or that they're offering. I just know that they did recently change it. I don't know that they necessarily added some things. I think they might have removed some things. But my understanding going forward for the year is that they are still going to continue doing the vouchers. I think that they've had good, what's the word I want to use? Good feedback and have had good engagement on folks getting in there and doing that. The cool thing is, I think that it would be useful for folks if they have gone after the associate certs and they've enjoyed the Juniper stuff up to this point, especially if they're using Juniper in their environments, then it might be worth looking at some of the specialist or professional certs as well. I'll actually be doing, I have some more cert vouchers to give away that I'll be doing, the beginning of the year here that are going to be good for the associate, the specialist, and the professional certs. So keep your eye out on that too, especially if you are interested in going after a specialist or a professional cert, just because those cost more, right? So the associate cert is like $200, the specialist is $300, the professional is $400. It's like, yeah, if you were to win one of those giveaways that I do, yeah, you could use it to cover the extra 70 or the extra 25% of an associate cert, but that only saves you $50. It would make a lot more sense if you do win one of those from me to go after a specialist cert or professional cert, since those actually, cost quite a bit of money. So let's see. Yep, and I answered that. So yeah, I think that is about it. I'm gonna try and schedule this test probably sometime in the next week or so. But if anybody has any other questions, you can drop those in the comments now. I'm going to put all of the links for the stuff that I talked about in the description for this video up on YouTube once this gets published, which will be, pretty much once I hit the end broadcast button here. Trying to think other things going on the channel soon. I think that's about it. I have a few other giveaways. I just did a Network Plus training class giveaway for a course that I developed. And it came with the course, the books, and the exam voucher, which I think was almost like $3,000 in value for everything combined. I have a few more of those that I'm going to be doing beginning of the year as well. So keep your eye out for that. Oh, another question here. Having some issues configuring SourceNet on an MX series device any help would be appreciated. Yeah, hit me up. If you follow me on Twitter, hit me up there. And I'll see if I can help you or point you in the right direction. I'm trying to think last time I did source NAT on an MX. Do source NAT on some SRXs. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. But yeah, hit me up on Twitter. I'll see if I can help you out or find somebody who might be able to help you out. So yeah, so if you guys appreciate this, make sure you hit the like and subscribe notification bell. Chances are, if you're sticking with me through this and this video is 50 minutes long, then you've probably already done that. But if you haven't, do that. I appreciate that. Hope everybody has a great week, and I will chat with everybody later. All right.